my name's Rebecca, and the question that I will be answering is from chapter 3 on page 36. And the question reads, what identities, languages, and cultures are currently visible in your classroom? How can you build a space where the stories and linguistic repertoires of all students are amplified and interconnected? And lastly, what would you have to shift about your stance, design, or pedagogy to strategically and intentionally co-construct a plurilingual classroom discourse? So for the first part, where it reads, what identities, languages, and cultures are currently visible in your classroom? There are definitely a variety of cultures present, such as Asian, Hispanic, Black, mixed, and white. Some cultures are more um, present than others, such as Hispanic and white. But overall, we have a variety of cultures visible in the classroom. Other identities include straight, female, male, athlete, worker, and student leader. The languages that are present or visible include English speakers and Spanish speakers. The second part, how can I build a space where the stories and linguistic repertoires of all students are amplified and interconnected? First, I can keep in mind um, uh, this goal that was from the textbook, and the quote is to embracing idea that the class is quote a global village where identity and citizenship are multidimensional, transcultural, and plurilingual, end quote. And that is found on page 24. So keeping that idea in mind, I can remember that I want to create my classroom to be one that is embracing all different kinds of identities and not just one specific identity. I can remember to keep in mind that students may not know what their identity is, and to create a space where students have the freedom to not only embrace the identity they currently have, but also um, find different ways to learn more about their identity and see where they're going to go. And so, different ways that I can help create that is by assigning work that is related to that. For example, something related to the slides that we were assigned to learn more about our family history. This can, because I will be an English uh, teacher, I can also assign prompts where students have the ability to write about their background and or their identity, or maybe an identity that they want to embrace but they don't have the freedom to embrace. I can also celebrate the different heritage months. So I know that with this I need to be aware of the idea that students may get that I may be favoring certain cultures, so I want to be able to communicate how I am not favoring certain cultures, but simply embracing them and celebrating them. And I can also open it up to students where I can give them an opportunity to tell me about the different cultures and the different holidays that they want to celebrate. I can also decorate the class in a way that feels inviting and comfortable to students. I'm not really sure how I could do this, but this could include putting up different aspects of maybe my identity that I want to embrace, and then finding ways to encourage them to also find a way to do so in their own spaces. Lastly, I can cultivate conversations where students have the opportunity to not only tell others about themselves, but also ask questions. I can show videos like the one shown in class where teaching them how to listen and how to be present, and which I can then encourage them to practice while we're in class. Lastly, the last question, what would you have to shift about your stance, design, or pedagogy to strategically and intentionally co-construct a plurilingual classroom discourse? So one of the things I noticed from chapter 3 is they talked about doing things together. So I can embrace teaching more as a quote, co-teaching, co-planning, and inquiry-oriented teaching, end quote, and that is from page 30. A lot of the times I don't like group work. I like to work by myself. I like to work independently because I find it very hard to trust people when I'm doing group work, because a lot of times I end up taking on more than the rest of the group, and it's just been very frustrating for me um, because I like to turn things in on time, and not everyone um, not everyone worked at the speed that would sometimes allow for that. And so I don't really like group work. I like to do things on my own. But after reading chapter 3, I learned that, well, I'm reminded that I can't be a teacher by myself. I have to allow myself to work with others and also change my mindset about group work. So I have to approach it more as a positive thing instead of something that will just frustrate me or irritate me or end up making us slower. Instead, group work will actually make me better. And so, in addition to that, I can embrace the 4 key stages of group performance: forming, norming, storming, and performing. That is from the book. And overall, just learning to realize that teaching is not going to be feasible by myself, especially as a new teacher. I'm going to need a lot of guidance. I'm going to need a lot of help, and that can be accomplished through group work, not just from people who are older and wiser, but also from my peers and other teachers who are around the same age who are also battling the same things. And so overall, chapter 3 helped me to learn about how to encourage students to embrace identities, and also taught me the value of group work. Yeah, thank you for watching.